subsidiary of I have like 3 different LLCs put together, and this is my lending arm. You can say about my company, it kind of involves with, investing in real estate, lending capital, and some side businesses that I have under my Honest Business Services. But what I want to really focus on is the lending side of the business and how it can kind of help your business grow as you guys are bringing in the profits. We want to be able to utilize that profits to grow your empire. So basically building a real estate empire and leaving a legacy within our culture. Specifically our culture and what we want to do within our community, kind of build our own self up versus some other culture. So let's go through a little bit about me. I'm the managing partner of Honest Capital Partners, raised in Fort Worth. Most of you guys are in Fort Worth, Big Rod and Courtney and all those guys. They know, I was raised up in the Texas, and that's the big state. Graduated from the University of Oklahoma back in 1995 with a Bachelor's of Science in Construction Management. Been married right now for 25 years. Right after I graduated, I have a son that's 16 years old. I moved here to Phoenix, like I said, in 1995 to work for a home builder. After that, I received a master's degree in program management. Became a realtor, in 2001. That's when the market started heating up. I started to look into investments. I started educating myself about, investing in single family homes here in the Valley of Phoenix in 2003. Since then, I've basically flipped about 6 or 7 homes, held a few within 2003 up until 2006. The market kind of shifted. I obviously went into a recession from a financial standpoint, so I was forced to sell a lot of my properties from that standpoint. Then after that, I started working with some foreign nationals who are interested in buying at the low end of the market. I don't know if you guys remember, in 2008, you can buy properties very cheap because a lot of properties went into foreclosure and whatnot. So we were just blowing and going with properties from my foreign national base. And so that happened there. And since then, I sold over about $20 million worth of real estate in here in the Valley. After that, I became a private lender, for investments, and just recently in 2018, because I had a knack for lending capital. I have a bunch of capital sources that, want to lend in various states, which I'll talk about down the road. Since then, since 2008, I already funded over about $10 million worth of capital to various properties in certain markets, such as, Texas, South Carolina, Detroit, Michigan, which is a hot market. I'll talk about that in a minute. And, my hobbies, as you can probably see, how my size, I'm definitely a football player. Played back in high school. I was going to try to walk on Oklahoma, but I didn't. I just stuck with that education and football. My son is a avid soccer player, and so me and Mom, we started to enjoy the soccer of the world. So yeah, I'm a soccer dad. So that's kind of the hobbies that he's keeping me busy on. So enough for me. And so what I want to kind of talk about next is kind of the mission and culture of what I do is, again, we provide lending solutions. We're a trusted advisor, direct lenders to support development, growth, and preservation of underserved real estate investors. We make decisions based on your opportunity. So, like I said, if there's an opportunity that arises such as this, you guys have an excellent opportunity to grow in this real estate environment. I'm here to help you with that. So next slide, what we do. Like I said, I fund in all 48 states. I'm backed by funding institutions, family offices, which is basically a conglomerate of high net worth individuals who invest in various different, funding vehicles, whether it's stocks, commercial buildings, land, real estate. So those sectors and other funds as well. So again, we're always looking for opportunities to lend a hand as far as real estate is concerned. I have a funding capacity, basically there's no limits on the size of project that we look at. As long as it makes sense, we'll definitely get it funded. So that's kind of what we do in a nutshell, just a few bullet points. So here, what I want to really talk about is, okay, we're all here, we do have a vision. I hope we all do here. We have a vision, what we really want to do as a culture here. And there's somebody just talk here. Let me see here. So as a culture, what we want to do is kind of build this foundation. What I'm talking about as far as building a foundation is setting yourself up for success. Now that you have capital, you want to do well for your family. Let's just go ahead and set that up. And what I mean by setting up building a foundation is some of the key points. Setting the goal. I mean, what do you want to do? I mean, you want to do this on an individual basis, or you want to come together as a group to invest in a set number of homes in the state of whatever state that you want to be into. Need to know what you want to go. What is your drive for the end of this year, next year? Set those little short goals, those long-term goals, so we can help meet that. That's very important to have that particular section put together. Next, this is simple. You come across capital. Let's clean up that credit, because that's very important. Some of you may have excellent credit. That's great. Some may have a few blemishes here or whatever. If you have the capital, just clean that up. What we want to do, what I look for is, when I want to lend to you, I'm looking at some of your credit, your ability to lend, and one of it is, involving credit. We look at, for example, our lowest goal, we can go down to 620 on a loan that I can lend to you for investment property. So look at that. Once you have the capital, let's get you cleaned up first before we move to the next, the next step. Building a business credit. That's another thing. You want to have business credit so that you can help leverage everything under your business and not individual. So I'll talk about how to get that particular credit set up later on in the slide. Again, establish liquidity. Like I said, you guys are growing in your capital stack right now with, as far as what you're doing now. Let's establish, put the, instead of, buying some luxury items, put the money into, in an established account. Let's grow it, sit it there, park it, get it seasoned. Because that's another thing that we look for too. If, you got to have that money in that bank account. So that you can get, we can start leveraging for that property. And then, set up, and just a little taco, set up an LLC. That's another thing that I'm going to talk about too, as far as that is concerned. We want to be able to set you up a limited liability company as well. So let's go in. What is an LLC? Like I said, LLC is a limited liability company. Provides, greater liability protection. So for you and your assets than individual owners, that may have, a perpetual existence. Basically what it is you're setting up a company under, within your name and your membership, so that you can have that form of protection in case something happens. If you're renting the property out and something happens in the property, somebody decides to want to go for you and sue you for some reason. If you have an LLC put together, they can go only after what's in that LLC and not you personally. So they can't really just go after you, for all that you have, what you're worth. So setting up an LLC is very, very important in the state that you're in or the state that you want to invest in from that standpoint. Now, I recommend having an attorney set everything up the right way, but you can do it yourself. You can go online and learn how about setting up an LLC. That's perfectly fine. Or I can definitely provide you, that assistance in setting that up from that standpoint. So definitely it's one of the steps that you want to do. Okay. And again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put it in the comment box and I can definitely answer it at the end. The strategies of investing. There's a couple of strategies that I look for. There's a long-term strategy, which is called, we call it the BRRRR method. And I'll talk about that right after this slide. There's a buy and hold method, which is basically a rental. You're buying a property and you rented it out to a tenant, basically, for a long-term hold. And then your short-term is typically, a lot of you probably heard of a fix and flip. You're buying a property undervalued. You need some lip, we call it lipstick. Putting the lipstick on the property and fixing it up depending on how much fix up you need. And then you flipping it. You're going to turn around and put it on the market and sell it. And make
Hey, Jody, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, there are some people that are trying to get in. They're waiting on you to allow them in.
Okay, got it. Thank you for letting me know that.
Yeah, somebody put it in the comment in the chat, and I was just saying it out loud.
Thank you. I'm getting used to this Zoom. I'm sorry about that. All right. I think they're in. Sorry about that, newbie. The guys and people that just came in. I am recording this, so definitely feel free when it comes back out. You can go back to the beginning and review the slides here. Okay. The next thing we want to talk about is, like I said, the BRRRR method. We call it the BRRRR method, and it's basically it's buying, it's rehabbing, it's renting, it's refinancing, and then it's repeating. It's a very popular method right now at this point. It enables you to pick up a property. You can rehab the property. Again, you can rent it out. You can refinance it to recapture what you put into the property. You refinance it through a lender such as myself, and then you pull the capital out so that you can repeat the process. So that's what we call the BRRRR method. It's pretty much holding, it establishes you to build property, under your portfolio one at a time and just replenishing the capital. So again, it's a very popular method right now. So to me, I suggest that method. There's a lot of my clients that are doing the BRRRR method right now at this point. It's, again, it's popular in certain areas of the town. We look at, properties that are within that particular price point to do such things like this. You cannot do this with, kind of a high-end property. It's more of the lower end property. So, that is good method to go by. We can talk about that a little bit later on. So this is an example what I did in Detroit. We just closed on this one 2 days ago. My client bought this one for $23,000, okay? And he put in, he had the capital to put in $139,000 into it. It rents for $1,750 a month. And so what we did is, my capital, we refinanced it based on the appraised value at 60% of the value of the property. We gave him back $168. So he recouped under that BRRRR method his capital back, and he had a monthly cash flow because it's tenanted of $1,750 a month, and he recaptured that $168 back to do another. Now he's working on another property. He's actually working on 2 properties at this point. That's kind of the method, which I want to be able to teach you guys to work on in pretty much any city that makes sense. So that's a popular thing. Now he used cash. to do this up front. He had 23,000 to put down, plus he had 139,000 to put down on this property. But it's a great method to build your empire. Same scenario, using leverage. Now you bought it for 23. I'm able to give you 70% of the purchase price, which is roughly 16,000 on it. But I can finance 100% of the rehab amount on that property. And so the total loan amount is 155,000 on this property. You fix it up, you rent it for 1,750. You refinance it. We'll turn around and refinance it. For that 168,000 that I'm giving you. Now you recoup what you put back into it. Now you have a property that's cash flowing at 1,750. Just go back and do another property of that nature. So you can use leverage too at the same time of doing that. Right? Here's another example of a buy and hold. I just recently closed a week and a half ago. And this is this perfect example of a buy and hold. But I put this one in here because this one is a little bit different. And this is the reason why I kind of look at and do my due diligence on each properties that you guys are looking at. That's part of my job, being a part of your team to help out and look at. So this property appraised for $245,000. Great. It's a solid property in Florida. We checked it out. Man, it's fantastic. But in that area, the markets, they only rent for $1,600 a month, and he didn't have it rented out. But we used this as a purchase to purchase a property. But at $1,600 a month, his debt to income on it didn't match what we wanted to lend him at 70% of 245. Based on that ratio, again, I don't want to get into deep in the woods on this. I was able to only fund him 50% of the appraised value in order for him to cash flow instead of the 70% LTV. At 70%, he's not going to cash flow at $1,600 a month, but at 50% of the appraised value, he's able to cash flow on the property well. So he had, the 50% down to put down. So what I'm trying to tell you is that once you find a property, let me do my due diligence. Let's see where you are. And then I can tell you exactly, hey, we can lend you at this particular point in time. Once you get to that particular point in time to when you're ready to invest. Okay. Basically, for what I look forward to as well is kind of the 3 C's of financing. So I look at your credibility. Again, like I said at the very beginning, fix your credit. Get your credit in order, pay down your debt, pay what's owed. Let's get it cleaned up. I like to look for a certain particular pocket as far as credit is concerned. That's very important. Your capacity of getting this property. Do you have the liquidity put in place to go to look at? Because we look at your bank statements too as well. That's another factor. And then your collateral. That's another factor too. What kind of collateral are we looking at? Collateral meaning that what is the asset like? What type of property is it? If it's a single family home, is it a condo? Is it even land? We also look at land. So those are the 3 C's I kind of look at when you send me something. I'm looking at you, I'm looking at your LLC, I'm looking at your capacity, I'm also looking at your collateral there. So what I like to do next is, once you set that foundation, you want to be able to form a team, meaning that you can't go out and do this alone. Not at all. I mean, you need a realtor in that area. You need a real estate attorney to set up the LLC right. You need property management in place for you if you have rental properties. We want to see that established. We want to have a host. You can look for a wholesaler investor in that market that maybe can partner with you to sell those properties at a deep discount to you. That's another factor. A title company. If you don't have a title company, you know, all these different setups right here, I can definitely help you with. And again, I have a vast network of different companies that will help you with this. An insurance company too, because you got to have your property insured as well. So those are the things you want to do. You know, once you set yourself up, you know where your goals are, you know what you want to hit. Let's crawl before you walk, before you run. Here to help you with that. Let's get a better understanding of what you want to invest in and what you want to do with your nest egg. And then we'll go to the next step. All right, so again, you know, what's next? You know, you tell me what you want to do next. You know, let's take the steps. Like I said, you know, you want to crawl before you walk. You know, I wanted to make this presentation kind of short, you know, kind of, you know, basic right now at this point, but it's for you to get an idea of, you know, get your thoughts, you know, thought pattern together. Hey, this is what I want to do in real estate, because again, the whole idea is to grow that nest egg for you. And, you know, a lot of the people like Oprah Winfrey, you know, Tyler Perry, these guys have real estate. They started somewhere. So you got to start somewhere too, as far as setting that foundation, and you can get there as well, especially, you know, we're dealing with our culture. You know, we can definitely, if we work together, we help each other out, we can do that for our own community. So I definitely want to, it seems like I'm running out of time for this thing. I definitely want to be able to help you with that as well. How to contact me, you know, here's my email address, here's my phone number. You know, you can give me a call. My website here is honestcapitalpartners.com. You can go on there, check out the products that I have. You know, you can actually apply online, you know, and send me, you know, information on properties that you're looking for. I'm here to help at all costs. So, you know, again, this is the first of you know, a couple of meetings that I definitely want to set up for you guys. And, you know, I'm just giving you the overall basics of, you know, what to look for and kind of just setting your goals, kind of getting that mindset, your wheels turning, you know, in the real estate. So that you have a thorough understanding. My whole goal is not to, you know, get you in there and you have no knowledge. So, you know, that's my goal here, is to get you set up, you know, based on my experience and how I started. You know, really, I read a lot of books, you know, and again, I just, you know, I had a little bit of a help because I came from a home and building background, you know, based on college. So, but it's for anybody who wants to have a will and a way to do it. So that's pretty much the basics of my presentation. And I'm gonna look at and see if you guys have any comments. Unmute. Bear with me here.
Hey, Jody, I got a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Hey, a couple different things, and I know, and let me first say thank you. Everybody on here, I've been knowing Jody probably since the 7th grade, and and he jumped right in once I told him what we were doing, and I think this is very outstanding. It's perfect, spot on to what we talked about. But jumping into that, couple different things kind of jumped out. And you don't have to go too deep into them. But when you said you want to make sure you have your liquidity put in place, give us some examples of what that means in place, as in?
Basically, you know, what I'm talking about as far as liquidity is concerned is, you know, when I look at a borrower, you know, I want to see that they have money in the bank account. All right. So, okay. So what I look for, like, for example, if you want to do a rental loan, I look at 6 months of interest payments in reserves in a bank account. Now, depending on that property, that interest reserve can be as little as $1,500, depending on the small, the property, or I can, if it's a larger property like a multifamily or apartment complex, which, we're not there yet, but some may be, I look for a bigger liquidity factor. So, that can range into, the 50s and the $100,000 range into the bank account. So that's what I'm talking about as far as liquidity. You got to have a certain amount of capital in the bank account. I hope that helps.
Okay, so I want to have one more question on top of that. Let's just say, this is an example. If I had about 4 or 5 people that were members of my LLC, and we all put maybe 11,000 in a traditional IRA that's set there, would that be considered that kind of liquidity? And would it also count as like borrower collateral?
Yes, that counts as liquidity too as well. If you have an IRA, 401k, or stocks or whatever, that's also counted as liquidity too. We will definitely look at that as well. So yeah, that definitely would count. As far as setting up how many members you need to be in the LLC, to me, wouldn't go no more than 5 members per LLC. You don't want to spread yourself too much into an LLC having too many members, because it can get, kind of messy, I guess you could say. You want to consult, and again, you want to consult with a licensed attorney to set that LLC up. What I'm stating here is my opinion. So again, I'm not a licensed attorney or a licensed CPA or anything like that. So let me get that disclaimer out the way. But you want to be able to have that attorney to set you up right. Because I've seen a lot of companies who are not fully protected, get their socks handed to them from that standpoint. So again, for us who want to be able to have the right team, have the right, I call it boots on the ground, wherever you want to invest in. Let's set yourself up straight first before you go out and find that first property, instead of just going out there and doing it. So that's when hopefully that kind of helps.
Okay, and let me add one more in there, just from my notes. I'd like to know a little bit more of what you know about wholesale investors. And let me go ahead and say it. I understand when you said underserved real estate investors, where you're bridging the gap between them. I understand that's kind of those scenarios were on there. So when you say underserved,
well, yeah, I'm talking about the investors who really are not being taken care of. I think in this market, there's certain things that I see that, well, this investor here, minority or this or that, we're not going to serve them as well as an A-class investor. So my goal is, because of my network, what I have is I'm able to kind of serve that particular area of the investor. So again, based on what I came through and came up, I see that particular opportunity. And, again, I think that is a definitely bridge, to help bridge that gap for getting funding. So that's what I was talking about, the underserved community from that standpoint. What was your other question?
The wholesaler investor, that's something new. I hadn't really heard of that, not really familiar with it. I'm just hoping you can give me a little elaboration on it.
So basically, wholesaling is where, an investor who is going out to, to the community, they're finding a property where there's a motivated seller that is willing to discount the price they need out of the house or whatever. For some reason, they're willing to discount this house at a certain value where there's a lot of equity to be made in that house. Meaning the market value of this house, like say, for example, is $200,000. The seller is willing to sell it for $100,000. Okay, that wholesaler is going to that property. Okay, and now he has a network of investor buyers such as us. he's going to try to market to us for, let's say, 120,000 or 115,000. All right. So basically, he is wholesaling the property to us at a lower value, and he's taken a little bit of a profit on that end for us to purchase it to do a rehab and, the burn method, like I talk about, whatever. So those people are called wholesalers. It's like quick money.
Okay.
You find it, you have a network of investor buyers, you market to them, then you basically write up a contract and you assign that contract over to the buyer, such as us, and they'll take an assignment fee for 10 grand, 15 grand. So that's what wholesaling is talking about in a nutshell.
Okay. Man, I really appreciate it. Let me yield my time back to somebody else that may have a question. You and I'll talk all evening.
All right, you bet.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jody, I was getting ready to try to text that in, so I'm not really operating this thing properly. My question is, your area that you can cover as far as lending, is that limited to the Houston area, or just how vast is that?
No, it's basically, I lend in 47 states.
Oh, okay.
And it's in the states I don't lend in is South Dakota, North Dakota, and Alaska. I mean, I don't have the lending capabilities in Alaska. Some states, we work hard to get in. Now we're in. Like Nevada, their states is very hard to lend. We're all private capital, so we're not subject to, government controlled, policies. So, we have a little bit more leeway to do what we do because it's private capital. So yeah, Texas is a great state. Houston, Dallas, Austin, those areas. Now, what I don't lend in is very rural areas. It's just very hard for me to get lending in those areas, rural areas like, towns that I was born in, like Lampasas, Texas. I mean, that's country town. I'm not able to lend, but the metro areas, the areas with those concentrations, like the big areas like Houston, Atlanta, Orlando, Miami, those areas, Chicago, I'm able to lend in those areas.
Oh man, so East Texas is kind of out of bounds?
Well, it depends. I tell you what, you send me a zip code and what you want to lend in. I go through my particular back office, and it can tell me, yes, I'll lend in that area. We will lend in that area, or can't do it, man. So it's just not that we can't lend in there now. Maybe in the future we could, but at this point in time, it may say we're not able to lend in certain areas of East Texas or so is concerned, but we could.
Okay, and then the last thing, I'm gonna get out of the way. The secondary market, can you kind of touch on that? Do you have relationships with people that may buy paper? Say, if we were to build a portfolio.
Sure. Yep. I got what you're saying. Yeah, I definitely understand what you're saying. Yeah, there's, again, I laid this meeting out kind of for the basic stuff, but yeah, the secondary market, it was what we're talking about is, if you're wanting to sell your note, you're going to have a note. Like for me, if I'm lending to you, I'm carrying a note for you to pay me back my loan to you. And what we're talking about, we're holding paper on you. So what I do is sometimes I can sell that paper off to a secondary buyer of that note. It's just like, and you have, like, a lot of people have mortgages. You will see the first statement is, whatever your bank is who loaned you that particular mortgage. But all of a sudden, 2 months, 3 months down the road, your mortgage is somebody else because they assigned it to another company. Basically, what they're doing is they're selling their paper off to another institution. Basically, is what it is. So where you're talking about as far as secondary market, yes, I do have a secondary market that buys that type of paper.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
You bet, man. You bet. Just
I squeeze one. I squeeze one more in, Jody, on the LLC.
Yeah.
I just wanted to I know you and I spoke about this. I thought it was some good information for others to know about the LLCs by state and how important that is just to kind of when we get to the point to start expanding
Yeah.
nationally and how we would have to create per individual state.
Yeah, you definitely, I mean, again, you pick a state because each LLC is state specific because they have their own set of laws of how to set up an LLC, or I mean, having an LLC establishment for that state. There's, you know, there's certain tax laws involved in that. And again, you want to talk to your attorney about that, but you know, you have to set up LLCs per state. Now, to me, you know, having an LLC in a state, let's say you want to, your goal for this state is to have 50 properties working, cash flowing for you in this state of Texas or whatever state you're in. Again, you talk to your attorney, but I wouldn't put all those 50 properties in one LLC. I would say at maximum, 3 to 5 properties per LLC in that state. Reason why, again, somewhere down the line, somebody tries to try to sue you, some tenant falls and they try to blame you for it. They have a high-powered attorney. If you have 50 properties in that LLC, guess what they're going to try to go for?
All 50.
All 50 of them. Instead of you going for 5, instead of, if you had like 3 or 4 or 5 of them in there, then yeah, they'll only go for that 5. Now, some attorneys are good where they'll structure that up where, although you have 5 in the LLC, they can only, based on that structure that they have set up for you, they can only go for that 1 LLC. But again, it's just how you want to layer it and how you want to structure it that way. Again, having those LLCs per state will work for you. Now, there's another factor built into it. Again, I didn't want to go into the weeds, but you invite me into the weeds, man. So you can have all your LLCs ran up into what we call as a Wyoming corporation, a Wyoming LLC. That Wyoming LLC has laws in place to protect the investor more deep than just having an LLC for that state. Your attorney will help you set that up. I mean, the Wyoming LLC is great. Nevada LLC is great to have as a parent LLC under your state LLCs. A Delaware for commercial property, a Delaware corporation is great to have as well. But we'll get into it when we get to that point. Once you have that the foundation set up, your attorney set up, we'll have you set up correctly to run with these properties. But yeah, each state will have their own state-specific LLCs.
Hey, Jody, I guess if no one has any other questions, again, I mean, hats off to you. Thank you so much. You are our first guest speaker, and we look forward to hearing many, many more. You jumped in, with no hesitation and no mental reservation and said, yes, I'm down for empowering my people. This is BAM, B-A-M, that's an acronym for Black Insurance Movement, powered by Bent. And so we definitely look forward. We thank you for the information. You know me, I'll be probably watch this a couple times once it gets recorded. And I'm glad you're extending your services and your questions to everybody in here. Like I said, we're small now, but it's gonna grow like compounding interest here pretty soon. So I look forward to building it and making this happen.
Yeah, and I'm thankful, man, that you invited me. To be the first guest here in this meeting. Like I said, the sky is the limit for this. You guys are growing, as a group. Let's work together as a group. There's bigger things other than just, buying real estate that what the wealthy really do. We can get to that at a later point in time. But yeah, let's crawl, let's walk, let's run. Just follow those steps. You guys will be perfectly fine. I mean, I know a lot of you guys are in Benton. That thing is growing like wildfire, man. And hats off to them. And but yeah, I'm excited for you guys. I'm here always to help. That's my cell phone. Call me, text me. I'm not the type that's not going to answer a phone, or if I'm on the phone, I'm always busy working with other investors. Shoot me a text or shoot me an email. I will definitely get back with you with some answers. My whole goal is to help you guys build, help you guys grow. That's the main thing, man. So I'm excited for you guys.
All right, thank you, Jody. All right.
You guys take it easy.
Thank you.
Oh, hey, somebody said you got some questions in the chat.
I do. Well, let me see. Where did I find this
Okay.
chat box? Hold on a second. Chat box. Share. There we go. Sorry about that here. I had to take off my presentation box here. All right, let's see here. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, let's go to the top here. Mic check. Investment group sounds interesting. Yeah, that's interesting. What is the fee to assist in the setup of an LLC? So yeah, Tiffany, basically the fee structures, it varies based on the state. Again, I recommend an attorney to help you set that up, and it can range for a few $100s. Depends on what state it is. To nearly $1,000 to set it up. Again, that's just my opinion. If you want, shoot me an email or text. Hey, I need a recommended attorney. I do have one that can set you up. He works nationally. He's out of LA. Guy's solid. So I definitely can help you guys at least have a consultation with the attorney and setting you up. Just let me know about that. But the fees vary from that standpoint. All right. How many people do you recommend being members of the LLC? Yeah, I think I talked about that. Rodney, that was your question there. Let's see here. Opinion groups, can you briefly give us an example of what group investing entails, meaning what are some of the pros and cons to consider regarding group investing? There are some pros, and as far as group investing, first of all, you guys all got to be like-minded, investing what you want to do and set a goal. From that standpoint, the only cons that I can look at is, one member will maybe want to leave the group, so it kind of leads you guys sideways from that standpoint. But again, a great attorney will set you up the right way from that standpoint. Okay, I think that's it, man. I think that's all the questions that I have. Again, you guys want to set up another meeting? I'm always available, on Thursdays, or if individually, if you guys want to chat with me, I'm always available too as well. So that's it.
That's it. Sounds good. We'll pick another topic and we'll continue on from where we left off at.
You got it, guys.
All right.
All right. You guys have a great evening.
All right.
Have a good one.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.